2023 been the best year for gaming? Well, if you ask the internet, then yeah, it's been a great year. I mean, I cannot remember a time for quite a while, and I've been gaming since I was a kid, that we've had month after month after month of hit banger games hitting almost all the time. Now, obviously, not every single game has been perfect. We have some not so great games that we don't like to talk about here, you know, looking at you like Redfall or Gollum or anything like that. But regardless, it has been a great year for gaming. From everything from the surprise hit of Hogwarts Legacy to Lies of P, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3, the list goes on and on. So I wanted to take a look over the last year and really see what were the best of the best games. Now, to be fair, I am not going, what were the best games of 2025 brought to you by the internet? No. We already know what those games are. Everyone's just going to pick the usual games and everything. I'm looking at the games that I personally liked for 2023. Now, before we even start this video though, I want you to let me know down in the comments below, what are your top 5 picks when it comes to games of 2023? It can be anything, it doesn't matter, because I can guarantee you right now, what I have on this list, if this was a what are the actual best games, everyone would rip me a new one, destroy me in the comments, the whole 9 yards. This is just simply what I personally enjoyed. And I still have a ton of games that are on the back burner that I'm trying to play. But as obviously a content creator and just having a full-time job and everything in between, I have to, you know, I don't have much time to play as many games as I wish I could. I'm not a freshman in college with, you know, winter vacation for 3 weeks straight like I did back in the old days. So I still have games I need to play like Alan Wake 2. I still have to get into Baldur's Gate 3 eventually. And there's just a ton of games I need to get into. So without further ado, I'm going to give you my top 5 list of the best games that I personally got to play here in 2023. And again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you enjoy these type of discussion videos, kind of ranking videos as well, then maybe leave the video a like and sub to the channel if you happen to be new. And also, if you want to keep up to date on everything gaming and when it comes to guides and everything for all the top new games coming out, then make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. All right, let's get started. Okay, before we get into the top 5 list, because again, 2023 has been a crazy year for games, I gotta give some honorable mentions. And again, there are a lot of games I still haven't played. I still gotta personally jump into Alan Wake 2, which I know my friend Lemon is gonna tear me a new one for not having played that game yet. But there's also some of these games on this particular special mentions list that I haven't finished yet, because again, I am very limited on time. So again, don't tear me a new one too bad in the comments. I'm sure my editors are gonna make some kind of funny comment about that, regardless though. Anyway, let's start off with a special mention real quick, and that is going to be Lies of P. I think a lot of people at the beginning, when this game was initially announced and everything, they're like, oh, it's basically like Pinocchio meets Elden Ring, essentially like that. But the game has proven itself to be like amazing. Like a lot of people are definitely putting this at kind of their top of the top list when it comes to 2023 games. I mean, heck, even some content creators over here in Japan that I don't think would ever give it the time of day absolutely love it. And I've seen a lot of people actually enjoy it, and it shows because it sold over 1 million copies. Like, that's a big deal for a small studio like this, and it really shows. So I really can't wait to see what they're going to do with the next game, if there's any potential DLC or anything like that. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with Lies of P and this kind of franchise. But overall, this game has been really fun. I'm only about 10 hours into the game so far, but it has been a blast to play, and I can't wait to see some of the final bosses and everything. Some other honorable mentions have to go to some of my favorite Nintendo games, and it has to be Mario Wonder. I know it's a little weird to not see that on a top 5, or I know a lot of people are still kind of angry that it was on the Game Awards Game of the Year and everything. Honestly, in my opinion, it kind of deserved it. But Mario Wonder is a true platformer game. It really just shows that the old formula of the old days still works in 2023, and me and my wife had a blast playing it, whether it was just simply passing the controller as one person died or playing together. The camera is still a little funky when it comes to multiplayer and everything like that, but I love the extra challenges when it came to some of those challenging levels and everything where you really had to utilize your jumping and running and everything. That was a lot of fun. Definitely had a few rage moments, but overall, it pushed me to try and get better, and it was just a lot of fun. It was good old Mario fun and everything like that. Speaking of Nintendo, I have to also mention Pikmin 4. Now, it's funny, back when I was a kid, I didn't particularly like Pikmin, but again, my wife actually ended up buying the game, and after I saw her playing it, she's like, hey, you want to play co-op? And while the co-op part is not as in-depth as you might think it was still a lot of fun to play together, figure out the puzzles, figure out the challenges, how to defeat the bosses and everything. It was just a lot of fun to play. So I gotta give an but I have to give a special mention to Pikmin 4. And finally, the last one I have to talk about, which I know to some people is still controversial and everything, is Hogwarts Legacy. I don't think anyone expected how good this game would be. Now, it is not perfect by any means. It is not a 10 out of 10. It definitely has some issues. It's a very safe by the books game and everything. But you know what? For the studio that made it, considering this is kind of their first big game doing this type of setting and everything, and it was fun to play. I mean, going into the wizarding world as a wizard, you know, not being a first year, you're like a fifth year and everything, having all these different spells and everything that you can do through the combat, it's just fun. The story can be kind of hit or miss depending on where you are sometimes, and the ending wasn't the greatest in my personal opinion, but it was just a fun game to play. The levels were really cool. It was fun flying around the open world, assuming you're not on Switch, unfortunately, but it was a fun game. I actually really enjoyed it. So I got to give some honorable mentions to those. And obviously there are many other games I could give honorable mentions to. I still need to play Sea of Stars. I still got to play a bunch of other indie games and everything like that. But again, I just like, give me a month. Just give me a straight month where I don't have to make content, and it's like freeze time for a month. And I wish I could just play all these games and everything. So, but anyway, with the honorable mentions done, I have to get into my top 5 now. These are no real particular order or anything. I just simply, you know, when I was looking at all the different games, I was like, you know what? I actually really like this. I just put it on the list right here. So anyway, let's go ahead and start off with my first pick, which is Final Fantasy 16. Yes, I absolutely love Final Fantasy 16. I know it is a big meme right now when it comes to the Final Fantasy community, unfortunately, and at least in my opinion, where the newest game comes out, everyone bags on it, then the next game will eventually come out, and then everyone's like, oh, actually, this game was pretty good and everything. Now, by no means is Final Fantasy 16 a perfect game. I definitely wish they had delved into some of the actual RPG elements a little bit more. You know, it's really weird having your character use fire attacks against fire opponents. Yeah, that's just a weird one right there. But it was just, the combat was fun, and I know it's gone into the action-heavy combat compared to the old days of turn-based RPGs, which, by the way, if you want to go play some turn-based RPGs, there are tons of them that release this year. They keep releasing more and more each year. So I don't personally see a problem with Final Fantasy trying something new, and it absolutely worked. They told a full-fledged story. They had great characters, great cutscenes. The boss battles were absolutely amazing, and that music, mwah, chef's freaking kiss. That music is the best, and if it had not won at the Game Awards, I would have officially called the Game Awards just absolute crap, to be perfectly honest. But it at least won for music right there, and no one can deny it. I don't care what game you're talking about, that game had awesome music. Final Fantasy 16 absolutely ruled when it came to that. And again, it's just a fun game. I even went back and I played the first DLC that was just released thanks to the Game Awards, and then obviously they have their other DLC, which is more story heavy, that's coming out in April, I believe. They say spring, I'm just gonna assume April, give or take. And it was just a lot of fun getting back into the combat and everything. It just shows that it withstands the test of time. And I even played on Final Fantasy mode. It's not the hardest game by any means, but regardless, it's still a lot of fun to play. I love the combat, it's a lot of fun. And yeah, Final Fantasy 16, I can easily see myself going back and playing that game next year. The year after that, absolutely no problem. And I cannot wait for the next DLC because it's touching on the Leviathan. And oh, I see some fun stuff coming with that DLC. But anyway, I have to give it to that game. All right, coming up next, I have to give it to a actual very recent game that just released. I have just been having an awesome time with this game, and I am talking about The Finals. Now, it's kind of weird because when I look at most first-person shooters these days, they're either BRs or they're games heavily invested into their battle passes, and honestly, they're just not that fun. Overwatch 2, I got sick and tired of playing after a while. Halo Infinite, while fun, unfortunately, had a lot of problems with its maps and its content and everything. Not to mention, its progression system is absolute ass. And I don't know, call me a boomer if you want to, but I feel like the first-person shooter games of the old days were a lot better. I'm not talking the old, 90s and everything. I'm talking things like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Halo 3, awesome games. So absolutely loved playing all those multiplayer games. And I feel like, unfortunately, due to the way that the landscape is when it comes to online multiplayer games, it's not in a good spot in my personal opinion. But in comes The Finals, actually made by the old developers of Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, the old DICE team, essentially, like that. And they have, unfortunately, had to keep some of that stuff in here because it is a free-to-play game. I get that. So they have things like a battle pass and personal cosmetics and everything. but they actually have a progression system in there. Now, granted, it is not the best. They definitely need to tweak it a little bit here. I even mentioned that in my full season 1 guide, so if you want to, check that out in the top right corner. Shameless plug there. But regardless, it's a fun game to play. And I know not many people are going to be into the heavy team-focused battles and everything, which is one of their main modes called Cash Out. But if you go play something like Bank It, we've been playing it on stream a lot. Me and my friend Lemon, who joined me whenever we play this game and we stream it and everything, it is just a ton of fun to jump into a round, have all the different weapons for the different classes, the gadgets and everything, blowing up walls, picking up containers, trying to kill your opponents, grab their coins, about to bank it, kickshot yourself. It is an adrenaline rush, and I absolutely love it. I don't know how far this game is going to go. I'm hoping that after the initial honeymoon phase that this game will continue to do well. Hopefully the developers actually have like content ready to go. I'm talking like, at least a map per season. I know 4 maps might not seem that much, but each map does have different night cycles, day cycles, weather, the whole 9 yards. So it actually does make a difference in everything. I mean, heck, you play Las Vegas, you got daytime, and then you have a sandstorm where literally half of the level is covered in sand and just takes away a bunch of the things that you're used to from the daytime. So it's actually really cool and everything. But I don't know where it's going to be after the honeymoon phase, but this game is an absolute blast to play, and I can't wait to see what they do going forward. All right, the next one I kind of have to cheat just a little bit. I had to kind of put them together because these are 2 games that are technically not from 2023, but their DLC was released this year. And it got me to go back and play both of those mainline games and obviously play the DLC and everything. I'm of course talking about Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty and God of War Ragnarok Valhalla. We all know that Cyberpunk released not the greatest state. It had some good fundamentals there when it came to the RPG systems and everything, but obviously due to all the bugs and everything, no matter what you said, no matter what actual good stuff was in Cyberpunk, yeah, you couldn't talk about that game without people just ripping it a new one, essentially. Luckily, they've actually kept their promises, though. They've gone over the last couple years and everything, and they have made Cyberpunk really, really good. I mean, heck, the 2.0 update was free to everybody. In fact, I think they just had a 2.1 update. So, just again, they put a lot of time into this and everything, which is really good. The Phantom Liberty DLC was also really fun to play. And again, it got me to go back and play and actually finish Cyberpunk, and man, it's a great game. It's really fun. I mean, it really shows you what a cool first-person modern RPG could look like. Some good robust RPG systems in the game and everything. Again, I know it's not for everybody. I'm not saying it's perfect or anything, but it was a lot of fun to play and everything. I enjoyed the story a lot. I enjoyed trying to go out and explore the world and everything. And it was just, again, it was a lot of fun. So it was definitely really cool to go back and explore that world. And on that other hand, also with God of War Ragnarok. Now, personally, for me in 2022, God of War Ragnarok was my game of the year. I know for a lot of people it was for Elden Ring, but for me, God of War Ragnarok still to this day is an amazing game. Again, I sat here in my office, played it on my TV, and I was like, yeah, no, this game is freaking awesome. Absolutely love this game. The story, the gameplay, the characters, everything, presentation, you name it. And then, hey, would you look at that? They dropped Valhalla as a DLC for free, folks. I mean, this DLC is, it's only about 6 hours, but again, it's free. It uses the top-notch gameplay of Ragnarok. Obviously, it's the same game. And it actually tells a really compelling story. And if you've played any of the God of War games and you're invested in these characters and this story and this world, you owe it to yourself to play this. Plus, you have no excuse. It's literally free for both PS4 and PS5. They luckily did not do what Horizon Forbidden West did, where the DLC was only for PlayStation 5, which I get it on one point, but on the other hand, it does kind of suck. But regardless, yeah, it's a fun DLC. And damn, Ragnarok proves to this day that it is still an amazing game. I mean, heck, 2018 is still an amazing game. And if that whole rumor about the first 3 games being kind of remastered / remade, essentially, if it is in the way that it was back in the PS2 days, I don't know if I can go back to playing that. I'm sure they're fun, obviously cool stories and everything, but 2018 and Ragnarok have just proven that I prefer this way of playing God of War, regardless of what anyone might say. But anyway, yeah, both of these DLCs released in 23 got me to go back and play those games. Absolutely amazing. All right, moving on to my next one. I have to talk about it, even though I know it's kind of been a meme due to the whole Game Awards and everything, which I don't personally care because, again, this is one of those games that I got it. I sat down, I played from like 10 a.m. until 4 a.m. the next morning, got 3 hours of sleep, woke back up, kept playing the game. I 100%ed it, got a platinum trophy. If you don't know what game I'm talking about by now, it can be kind of obvious. Spider-Man 2. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just Spider-Man 2018, but it does the exact same thing with a couple of updates and everything. It's like, you could say that about a lot of games. I did not need Spider-Man 2 to drastically change from what 2018 was. It's like the old argument of what God of War 2018 did to Ragnarok. You had some people complaining that the gameplay was too similar. It's like, why would you mess with the gameplay if it was already good? Now, you could easily say something like, oh, okay, the stealth gameplay was not exactly the greatest. There maybe should have been more opportunities for that, or more opportunities for more challenging. Because I will admit the game was definitely a little on the easy side, I would say. But again, it's a Spider-Man game. It's going to sell gangbusters because Spider-Man is just a big, well-known name and everything like that. So absolutely 100% that right there. I did feel the story was a little short, obviously. I wish they had more story side missions like they had with the Flamekeeper and everything. That would have been really cool to see a little bit more of that personally. But overall, it was still just, it was a fun game. Plus that Venom scene, I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. You know what, editor? Roll the clip right now. Just roll the clip.
We are not hearing. We are.
Yeah, see? Right there. That right there alone makes it a great game. I'm joking a little bit there, but regardless, Spider-Man 2 was a very fun game. And I know people like to meme on it and everything like that. And, you know, people are wondering like, well, what's going to happen with the third game? It's only going to be 10 hours. And they're still going to charge us like 70, 80 bucks or whatever. And that's unfortunately where we are when it comes to gaming, when it comes to $70 and everything like that. But everyone does it. But regardless, Spider-Man 2, it's a very fun game. I can't wait to get the update in the early parts of 2024 for the New Game Plus. Definitely going to check that out. And hopefully maybe they have some kind of DLC. I know, unfortunately, what happened currently with Insomniac and everything, we didn't see anything with the DLC. But you know what? Hey, here's hoping. Maybe we just... If not, you know what? That's more time to put towards whatever next game comes out eventually. So anyway, Spider-Man 2, absolutely loved it. All right, and my final game that I have to talk about when it comes to 2023, which was one that was released way back in the beginning of the year, is Metroid Prime Remastered. Now, if you don't know me, let me repeat that. I absolutely love the Metroid Prime trilogy. I played it back on the GameCube and the Wii when it originally released. I remember going down to Game Crazy when that was still a thing, or it might have actually been GameStop, but I purchased Game Crazy, but part of Hollywood Video. Yeah, I'm really showing my age right now. Absolutely loved the entire trilogy though, and I've been waiting so patiently for Metroid Prime 4. Now, I know they've had the big, you know, kind of development hell, and then it was kind of like restarted and everything, given back to retro games and everything. I'm hoping it releases with whatever Switch successor there is and everything. So I'm not, you know, saying like, oh my god, it's gonna come out in 2024 and everything, but Metroid Prime Remastered proved that the concept back then still works to this day. They upgraded the graphics to an incredible degree, which is really cool. Like, actually go look at comparisons and everything. It actually does make a big difference. The control scheme still works to this day. Using the Pro Controller, playing it on my nice TV, it was just, it took me back in time, and I'm just like, yeah, this game is awesome. It survives the test of time. And I know a lot of people might look at this and go, oh god, a remaster, especially at the Game Awards and everything like that. But again, I'm not putting this as my favorite, best overall game of 2023. It's just like, I loved playing this game in 2023, and it proves to this day that the Prime series still holds up absolutely no problem. So now I'm just waiting for Prime 2 Remastered and Prime 3 Remastered. If the rumors are true that they're actually really trying to take their time with 2 and 3, especially due to 3's control scheme, because I will admit the Wiimote actually really did work back in the day, but we don't really have that with the Switch and everything, and the whole motion controls of the Switch, I'm not the biggest fan of that. So if they are reworking that and everything, totally 100% on board with that. But regardless, Metroid Prime Remastered was just, it's a fun game. It's a beautiful game. The worlds, the weapons, the story. I mean, the thing, this is one of those games, there is not a spoken word of dialect. And I love the story. The story is absolutely amazing, especially once you get into 2 and 3, just combining it all together and everything like that. And again, the boss fights and everything, the worlds, the levels, top notch right there. It just proves that this game was kind of ahead of its time back in the days. So yeah. Anyway, so with that being said though, that is going to be my top games that I personally enjoyed for 2023. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I want to know your personal list down below. Give me your top 3, give me your top 5, whatever it is. Give some honorable mentions, all that stuff. Like I said, I still have a ton of games which are going to slip into 2024, unfortunately. But the nice thing is that January doesn't have that much coming out. I definitely want to try that Prince of Persia game, but other than that, you know, it's kind of a good chance right there to really get some good games in. And February, luckily, doesn't have too much. Suicide Squad, I'm just gonna watch the story on YouTube and everything. And well, my Destiny DLC got delayed, so I just gotta wait for Rebirth, basically, which comes out the very end of February. And man, I'm looking forward to that game. But regardless, like I said, what are your favorite games for 2023? Give me your reasons why. And also, what are you most excited for when it comes to 2024? And man, I can't wait to see what we got going forward into the next year of gaming. So anyway, everyone, I've been Tallen with Direct Gaming. Thank you so much for joining me in this video and this discussion. If you enjoyed these types of videos, then leave a like on the video. It helps us out a lot, and it lets us know that you enjoy this type of content and we can make more. And like I stated at the beginning of the video, if you want to see any more tips and guides and everything when it comes to any type of new game or just games in general, check out our playlist in the top right corner. And again, if you really want to support the channel, a sub would be absolutely awesome. But anyway, I've been Tallen with Direct Gaming once again. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I hope you have an amazing day. Until next time, everyone. Gone.